It's time for From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine with Trey, a golf podcast for those who love golf, struggle with golf, and just like to enjoy the outdoors and fellowship with friends, all while chasing a ball around, trying to put it in a 4 1/4 inch diameter hole. From the Shortgrass is presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine, and brought to you by Stevens Incorporated, an independent financial services firm with the freedom to focus on what matters most. By Beechwood Hospitality, we partner with you to deliver high-yield results by managing, developing, and investing in top-quality hospitality assets. And now, from the Shortgrass, here's your host, Trey.
Welcome to another edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey. Don't forget, the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health is now open. It's called Ortho Now. If you have an orthopedic injury, sports, work, or anything else, walk in and see the best in orthopedic care. No appointment is needed. Ortho Now, open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday, 8 to noon. They're conveniently located at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. For more information, call 501-686-TOSH. That's 501-686-8674. Congratulations to Maria Jose Marin. You've heard us talk about her before. She's been on an episode of From the Shortgrass. She won the NCAA Women's Collegiate Individual Championship. That got her a spot in the U.S. Women's Open at Erin Hills. What did she do last week? She made the cut. Congratulations again to Maria Jose Marin. Scotty Scheffler won on the PGA Tour, winning the Memorial Tournament, and next week he goes for another major, the U.S. Open at Oakmont in Pittsburgh. Coming up on this edition of From the Shortgrass, I sit down with Tag Ridings. I caught up with him down in Boca Raton, Florida at the James Hardy Invitational on the PGA Tour Champions. That's where he's spending his time these days. We're going to catch up with him and find out about his trek to the PGA Tour, how he became a Razorback, and a lot more. It's all coming up right after this. Stay with us. Strength is measured not by the number of accounts. Strength is placing value on relationships. It's having the vision and the guts to invest in growth. It's the commitment to responsibly manage your money. At Stevens, we believe that our strengths build success, not only for us, but for our clients. Stevens, member NYSE, SIPC.
This is Justin Acree with some exciting news. UAMS Ortho Now is now open at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. If you have an orthopedic injury, sports, work, or anything else, walk in and get the best in orthopedic care. No appointment needed. Ortho Now is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon. Conveniently located at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. For more information, call 501-686-TOSH. That's 501-686-8674.
From Central Arkansas to South Arkansas to Northeast Arkansas, across the state to Northwest Arkansas, you will find a Beechwood hospitality property. From the Haywood in El Dorado to the Hilton Garden in Jonesboro to the Doubletree in Bentonville and the Staybridge Suites just south of Baumwalker Stadium, Beechwood Hospitality has a room for you. Beechwood Hospitality is the leader in hotel property management in the state. Make sure you find a Beechwood Hospitality hotel for your next overnight stay.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. I am your host, Trey. Tag Ridings was born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. His father was an Oklahoma club professional, so you know he had a golf club in his hand at a very young age. He played golf in Oklahoma growing up and found his way to the University of Arkansas. And he had a dream to make it to the PGA Tour, which he did. You're about to hear the story of Tag Ridings, how he became a Razorback, and his trek to the PGA Tour. On the tee, Tag Ridings.
Tag, thanks for joining me on From the Shortgrass, the son of a club pro. So you probably had a golf club in your hand at a pretty young age.
I did. I got a cut down 4-wood for my 4th birthday.
Oh, boy.
Which we took straight to the range at La Fortune Park and hit one in the screws. Back then they had the little red dot in the wooden wood.
Yeah.
And hit one there, and it got off the tee box in the air, like it all the way. So I was hooked immediately.
That's pretty cool. Playing in Oklahoma, growing up in Oklahoma, I guess you were used to playing in the wind.
I can't hardly play without it, yes.
If it's a steel day, you don't know what to do.
It's a little more difficult.
Growing up over there, playing high school golf, and then being recruited for college, what was that like during growing up, your time in Tulsa?
Well, from a junior golf standpoint, I only kind of got a little bit of a late bloomer start into it. I didn't live with my dad full time. So I only played on weekends, and when I was 11, he entered me into my first tournament, and you got kids like Bryce Mulder in the section and all these great young playing kids, going out 11 years old, breaking par, in Bryce's category, and then most of them shooting 75, under 80, at that age. My first tournament was in Claremore at a great little golf course up there, and I shot 101, and I backed it up the next day with a 101. So back-to-back first junior event, 101, 101.
Were you trunk slamming it out of the parking lot?
I didn't know any better. I thought it was great. I wasn't even disappointed. It's like, oh, well.
101.
Of course, I would have liked to have broken 100, but I didn't know that was that bad.
You were just there for the fun of it, right?
Yeah. But, the next year I played that same tournament again, and I shot 81-81. And
20-stroke improvement.
Yeah, back to back. So I had played around. My mom and I, we lived in Dallas-Fort Worth at the time, and I played a muni there, and I shot 84 one day, just not knowing what I was doing, just getting taller and stronger, and, and kept my orange golf ball for many years that I shot 84 with. Then when I shot those 81s at that event, I was like, hey, man, this is really something. This is a fun deal, because I wasn't in the top 3 to get the trophy or anything, but I would think I was like 5th or 6th, It's like, oh, man, I'm right there, and strangely enough, it wasn't too much later that I won a tournament at Bartlesville, Adams Municipal.
Okay.
And it had to be in an odd spot on the schedule where a lot of the top players had gone to play maybe a U.S. Junior qualifier or something at the same time, so the field wasn't quite as stacked. I shot 80, and I thought I was going to get beat. Even though it was a great day for me, I came in kind of thinking, oh, I'm hanging my head. I probably didn't get a trophy or anything,
And then you find out you win.
I find out I won the tournament. I was like, oh, that's cool. So now I'm really hooked.
When did you know, Tag, that you wanted to try and increase playing competitively, and then obviously finally make your way into college and play on the golf team at the University of Arkansas?
Well, that summer after that win, and then having some fun doing a bunch of tournaments, after the summer was over, I said, man, that's it for me. I want to do that, right? And
I want to win.
Yeah, I just loved it. And the next summer, I won a little match play event at Paige Belcher over all the top players. I ended up in a playoff in the first match and made a birdie to go through, and ended up winning the final match over a great player, Chris Edgman. And Corey Connors was the player I beat in the first match. These guys were the dominant crew, and I didn't have any business beating them, except I just kept fighting. And then I started going, oh, I want to do this for real, and I'm only 13 at the time.
Yeah.
And still behind the 8 ball as far as knowing anything about the game or anything of the such. But my dad was a good teacher and a very patient, calm-minded teacher, which, is super valuable to a young kid.
Right. It's almost kind of like that's how they have to be.
Yeah.
Patient.
Well, and he has it in droves. Like, it's just natural for him. So it was still a calming influence on me to this day. But I still wasn't completely all in, and I was kind of going through some rough times, and I'd moved around a lot, and in my freshman year in Dallas, Fort Worth, just wasn't going well, wasn't behaving well, wasn't happy, and I was at a real low point as a young man. And the funny thing that I did is I sat down one day and in despair was thinking I need to set a goal of some sort. And so I wrote down this goal of I wanted to play on the best #1 college golf team.
Yeah.
I didn't have any business writing that goal down. At my point in my career at all.
Right.
I just won a couple of little events, but I was not a recruitable athlete at that point.
But you set a goal for yourself that you wanted to be on the best golf collegiate team that there was.
And I'm a 14-year-old at the time, and
wow.
Not even a successful one. I'd never done it in any national tournament at that point.
Right.
And I ended up moving to Tulsa full-time, and that year, during that school year, and start playing full-time, and got on the high school team and kind of just doing it every day instead of goofing off. And then now I was going to the golf course after school every day, and I got better, and it just kept improving. I had a lot of help daily from my dad. Jerry Jones was his boss, who was a great player himself, and gave me his old backup set of Hogan irons, playing with the best stuff. Got great influence on me. My dad there helping me every day, teaching me to putt. Still one of the best putters I've ever met.
See, Tag, I think that listeners to this podcast, if you can get out there and practice, and if you can do it consistently, you become a better player. You just have to.
Absolutely. There's so many things you can try and do, and if you can open your mind, but just use your imagination out there, and all that takes time, and you got to do it. Most of the golf I played was by myself, and so I was free to try anything. My dad would play with me when he could, but he was working,
right?
And he'd get out there quite a bit, but I don't know, 4 or 5 days a week, I was on my own out there hitting shots and
trying different things.
Yeah, I go play in 10-degree weather, so I'd have 18 holes to myself.
Of course, yeah.
It didn't matter.
10 degrees, yeah. I don't think I would be out there at 10 degrees.
Frozen. If you haven't played on frozen greens, that's something you got to try sometime.
Okay, maybe I will sometime. I've played pretty cold weather, but never played frozen greens. So you wind up at Arkansas, and you're a freshman, and the team is loaded when you were a freshman.
They were ranked #1 when I was being recruited. So how that all
you
culminated
hit that goal
was just kind of unreal for me. I had played great in the state match play as a high school junior. I shot 68 in the qualifying round, playing with Matt Gogol, and that ended up being medalist that day, which gave the coach at Arkansas, Bill Woodley.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, wait a minute, I got a letter from this kid," and we had written Arkansas a letter because we knew how great the facilities and the team were, and it was close. It fit everything I needed. It was across state lines, so I felt like I was free.
Kind of going away a little bit, but close enough that you could get back if you needed to.
Drive back, do laundry still.
Yeah.
So he came over and watched me play, and I was choking a little bit, and I got like 5 down on the front 9, but I took the match all the way to 17 holes. I came back. I didn't give up, and he's out there kind of. I do know he's watching, and all that
little
intensity
nervous.
and stuff. But he said, "Okay, this kid will grind," and so he gave me a chance. He recruited me after that, and I just went on that one visit. I didn't go visit anywhere else because I didn't get a full ride, and I probably was a kid that needed one. We didn't really have any money, but my dad being a club pro, but they made it happen. They put together whatever they could to make it happen for me, which is, a hard thing to do, but they did it, and it was great. And just getting there to Arkansas was huge for me, just being around the other players that were great, talented players, and having the facilities and and the coaching and everything at your hands to focus on getting better.
You talk about some of the players that you were around. I mean, Jack O'Keefe, 4-time All-American, first at the University of Arkansas outside of track to do that.
Yep.
David White, Dean Pappas, who is going into the Arkansas State Golf Association Hall of Fame in November. Brendan Pappas, his brother. I mean, pretty stacked team.
Great players.
And you learned a lot.
Yeah. And
Quickly.
O'Keefe kept us all out of trouble. So that was another good influence.
Yeah. I think he's still keeping people out of trouble.
Yeah, he's good at that. But I got a good, quick, short story about Dean. He played with me on my recruiting trip at Pinnacle. Still called Champions back then, but Pinnacle Country Club. And, he just smashed the golf ball.
Oh, he hits it a mile.
He would go. Back then, he really hit it far. John Daly would take him to these exhibitions and let him do long drive with him. But Dean was a senior at the time, and he was just crushing the competition in college. And number 13 out there is a kind of a double dog leg, great par 5. You got to get the tee ball in play, OB's in play, water on the left. Then you got to lay up in play, OB's in play, water on the left. Then you got to hit it up this mountain over this pond.
Mm-hmm.
And I go driver, 3-wood, 6-iron or something of the sort. And Dean just kind of proceeds to pop one up off the tee, a little high on face on those small drivers back then, but it's down the middle. And I go, where did Dean's drive go? Well, it's like 55, 60 yards ahead of me, and I'm not short.
Right.
I wasn't short then either. I was decently long. And this is crazy. And he grabs a 2-iron out and rifles it up the mountain on top of that green.
Wow.
From something like 270.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm like, that's something I'll never see again.
Yeah.
And I haven't.
Did he make the putt?
No. But he was a great putter, too.
Yeah.
In fact, I think in his playing career, even when he came back to Korn Ferry, what was Nike Tour at the time, he was the leading putter out there.
Yeah.
For a lot of his time. On the stat page, number 1.
Yeah.
But having him do that was really cool. But, having the influence of the guys on the team like Bud still is just an amazingly talented player.
He's a guy that could move the golf ball, too.
Oh, my gosh. He could curve it any way, any height, any shape you wanted, and he knew what he was doing with it. And he did a good job of kind of teaching us how to shape the golf ball with our golf swings.
Yeah.
That was fun.
How has the game changed in your mind since your college days to where you are now in the PGA Tour Champions?
Oh, it's nothing like it. Graphite was still new and untrusted. Titanium was a cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
We felt more trust in that because it was a metal. Now graphite's by far better, but the club fitting is hugely better now. Ping was our big supporter of college golf at the time. We all played Ping, and they were the first ones in on really the club fitting for your size and shape and body type. And I think everybody's kind of learned from that over the years. But nowadays, these kids, no matter their body type and swing speed, they go get fitted for shafts, screw it into the driver head, and they should be way ahead of the game. Not all of them quite buy into it enough.
Yeah.
But the ones that do really benefit a huge amount from it.
Yeah, it's just more of a numbers game now.
Right.
Than what it was back when you were coming up.
I had a guy, a caddy in my group yesterday as a young college player. He's got 125 mile an hour club head speed. I said, how much do you tip your driver shaft? He said, what's that? So I taught him. I told him, this is something you obviously need to do at that club head speed. You're going to have to tinker with this and learn. But he's probably going to be a heck of a player once he dials that in. I love talking to the young kids that do know their equipment.
Yeah.
Because I didn't.
Yeah.
I told the kid yesterday, I said, I lived in my car for 5 years essentially because I was playing equipment that did not fit my body. It kind of contributed to my injuries. And then only through trial and error do I ever get out of that. You know, and I spent a lot of time testing every shaft on the market for irons and drivers. So done it through trial and error, but these guys don't have to do it through trial and error anymore. You got great club fitters all over the place.
Everywhere. I mean, every corner, especially in some of the hotbeds of where golf is, Texas, Florida, California. I mean, you can find them basically at every corner if you wanted to. You made it to the PGA Tour. When you finally got your card, what was that feeling like?
A little too soon, to be honest. I was ecstatic. I made it through Q School finally under the loving care of Bud Still in the final round of second stage, which is the really cutter section of Q School.
Tough stage.
We were playing together, and I was falling apart through about 6 holes. He kind of got me through that day, and we made it.
You were leaking a little oil?
I hit it in the water on, of course I picked Stonebridge, Kenny, Pete Dye course.
Yeah.
And I hit it in the water, and he's like, bro, that's the only thing you can't do. What are you doing? I'm like, I know. So he gets me through, and he's on the Nationwide tour. Back then it was Buy.com tour, now it's Corn Ferry. We're on the Corn Ferry tour at the time together, and just hanging out with him and having somebody to be with and practice with. I made it through my first year out there. I finished 14th on the money list back when they took 15. And so I got a tour card. I show up in Hawaii.
Yeah.
My first event of the year.
Sony
Open. I get paired with Corey Pavin on the weekend.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And we're kind of middle back of the pack. And, I'm just trying to hit shots like Corey, which I can't possibly do. But
they're different.
They're lower and stingier than I got.
And you can't putt like him either because he uses that bullet putter.
And
he still has it to this day.
Yeah. And through 11 holes, he's 6 under, and he's leading the golf tournament. And mine's like, I don't even realize I could have done that. I didn't know I was supposed to be trying to win at that point. I was like, about 1 under. I'm thinking I'm moving up the leaderboard a notch.
Right.
It was fantastic. I had a fantastic caddy that kind of got me there also, named Red Whitlock. Might have been the most stable, solid mindset person I could have ever met. He won 11 tournaments on the Corn Ferry Tour. Might be a record still, I don't know. And we kind of started off a pretty decent start, but I blew my back out right away.
Yeah.
I was still playing stuff that was standard length, standard fit, and it wasn't right for me. And I go to Pebble Beach, and I finished the third round, but I shouldn't have. I should have pulled out, but I just didn't want to leave my amateur partner hanging.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I was out the rest of that season, rehabbed again, found a trainer, learned what exercise was all about, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I came back the next year, and it took me a while to get back into playing good and fitting in out there. But, the end of that second year, I had just an unbelievable hot finish. And ended up finishing 11th, shooting 64 on Sunday in Tampa to finish 125th on the money list.
Grinding.
Yeah.
It's a grind. It is a grind. I mean, some people don't realize what a grind it is. And now
I didn't think of it that way at the time.
Of course not.
For tons of money and having fun around these great players. I just didn't know that I could beat them.
Yeah.
So
now you do.
Yeah.
And you're on the PGA Tour Champions now. And what has that afforded you more so than a chance to get out and compete again?
Coming straight off the Corn Ferry Tour for the last 5 years, been in that competitive mode. It just gives me a chance to not have to watch people hit at 350 by me all day and just play some golf shots. The atmosphere out here is way better than anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Relaxed.
There's a lot of relaxed guys out here. But as Hall of Famers, there's not any one of them that are taking a day off. They're true professionals, and they get it done. And they know how to get it done. But they do it right. They're in the gym. They're staying healthy. They're kind of really polished, and I have been playing with the young kids that's all they lack is polish.
Best golf course you've ever played?
Southern Hills, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Wow. Yeah.
I loved it when I was 16. I caddied out there.
You like the redo?
Never seen it.
You haven't been out there?
I haven't been back. I need to go see it.
Oh, my gosh.
I've heard good things about it. I've heard it's still
Well,
great.
you've probably seen it on TV when the
saw it on
PGA
TV.
Championship was there.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Will Zalatoris had a chance.
Yes.
Lost in the playoff to Justin Thomas.
Yep. Just an amazing piece of ground. And, I'm a huge Perry Maxwell fan.
Yeah.
In fact, driving to Wichita last year, I just stopped and pulled over in Ardmore to go see Dornick Hills, his home, basically his home course that he loved the most. And I just love his work so much. And, that was the first real giant, great golf course I'd ever stepped foot on and seen and played.
It's a masterpiece.
Dave Bryan let me play out there a few times, which
Yeah.
was awesome. And I've been back a few other times as guests, and it is a masterpiece. And, being from there and caddy there, just assumed I was a little bit biased over the years. But, after 30 years, I just wasn't. It was just that good.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
It is good.
And I have a special place in my heart for Oklahoma golf,
No doubt.
the Rolling Hills.
Fantasy foursome, living or deceased, you and 3 others that you could play around a golf with, who would it be?
My dad, of course. I'd love to get my son to play in that foursome as well. But other than that, we'd probably have to go with Byron Nelson and Ben Hogan.
Okay. Yeah, old school.
Totally different humans, but both amazing. And the genius of Hogan, I would love to just pick his brain on equipment. I'm a huge equipment junkie.
Well, especially since you had his clubs
I had his
early
clubs,
on.
and he knew stuff that he still hasn't told us.
Yeah.
He did
Yeah.
stuff on those irons that nobody has really done since.
Haven't figured it out.
Right.
Yeah.
So we could just CNC those suckers and repeat them. I think there'd be a lot of people buy them.
I think there would be too.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Tag man, thanks for the time.
Yeah, glad to do it. Thanks for having me.
You bet.
It's a good place to be.
I can't thank Tag Writings enough for taking some time out of his preparation for a golf tournament to sit down with me. That was recorded in the Media Center at the James Hardy Invitational down in Boca Raton, Florida back in April. Best of luck to Tag, and hopefully he'll make it to Pleasant Valley at the end of the season for the Simmons Bank Championship presented by Stevens. Beechwood Hospitality. Matthew Allen and Blair Allen. They know how to manage hotel properties. When you need an overnight place to stay, make sure it's a Beechwood Hospitality hotel. They are the best in hotel hospitality management. I'm back to wrap up this edition of From the Shortgrass presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine after this.
This is Justin Acree with some exciting news. UAMS Ortho Now is now open at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. If you have an orthopedic injury, sports, work, or anything else, walk in and get the best in orthopedic care. No appointment needed. Ortho Now is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon. Conveniently located at the Orthopedic and Spine Hospital at UAMS Health. For more information, call 501-686-TOSH. That's 501-686-8674.
The next time you travel to El Dorado and need overnight accommodations, the Haywood Hotel is where you need to stay. The Haywood El Dorado Tapestry Collection by Hilton is a great place to stay if you're in South Arkansas listening to live music or playing the challenging Mystic Creek Golf Club. Take time and relax in their bar for a drink before going out on the town for dinner. The Haywood, 210 South Washington, right in the heart of downtown El Dorado. Search the Haywood El Dorado on the web or call 800-293-0718 for reservations. The Haywood, a Beechwood hospitality property.
Welcome back to this edition of From the Shortgrass presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. Hey, we're about to really launch something new here from the Shortgrass. Go to our YouTube channel and make sure you are subscribed. We are about to start putting videos up where we try products before you. Will they help you with your golf game? We hope so, and I hope that the YouTube videos that we produce will be something that will not only be entertaining, but also informative as well. That's coming up in the future. Hey, remember when you find your ball mark on the green, fix it and a couple of more. And I hope to see you sometime soon from the Shortgrass.
You have been listening to From the Shortgrass, presented by UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine, a weekly podcast dedicated to the game of golf. This has been a presentation of the Buzz Radio Network in association with Majestic Cubby Productions.